Hey guys, welcome to the shop. So I think it's been a while since I've actually put myself on camera talking, so I thought I might do a little bit of a shop update, some of the new machines and shop projects we have going on besides the customer stuff. So I finally tore apart the rotary table. These inexpensive ones are always kind of trouble. They're full of machining grit. So this is what the oil looks like that comes out of them. I put it straight to work because I didn't have motivation for it. We're finally making some proper insert tooling. So insert tools for boring bars are apparently hard to find and fairly expensive. So I made two of them. My Mark 1, I failed to take into account insert thickness when machining it, so that one's going to have a lot of negative rake when you use it, not the end of the world. Probably going to do some insert tools for the lathe too. Grinders, I should have a grinding vise coming. I think that's going to be really exciting. That opens up some new opportunities for precision grinding and teaching some more techniques that way. Really the primary goal of this video is to gauge viewer interest in what we should start focusing on as a group, what my viewers are interested in, and I mean, what do you guys want to see more of? We have a lot going on. I don't really feel comfortable doing in-depth lathe tool grinding videos. One of the things I've noticed on YouTube is, frankly, most of the people doing it aren't that great. They don't show you the tools after the fact, and they seem to always select materials that give a really good finish. Me personally, I have an extremely hard time grinding tools to get a good surface finish in mild steel. Brass is really easy, and that's what I see a lot of people presenting in. 01, you can get a reasonable surface finish without a lot of effort. Same thing with 4140 pre-hard. So tool grinding is one of those things where it's tough. I do my rough grinding on the surface grinder, which isn't really fair to the average person getting started looking at tool grinding. So I personally do tend to favor insert tools when budget allows, but they're not always an option. Tool grinding is it's important, but not really. I have a lot of form tools I use regularly. If you're not using form tools regularly, it kind of doesn't matter. In this day and age, there's always a budget insert tool that will meet your needs. It's just, do I need it right now? And I need a lot of stuff right now, so I don't have time to wait. I know I've done a couple of videos on cutting oil. I think I might revisit that. As it turns out, for what happens in this shop, mineral lard oil happens to be excellent for almost everything I do. Anchor lube is better for stainless steel, however. So it's, there is a lot of stuff happening. There's almost too much to talk about. I have reorganized. We got a new roof because that blew off in the storm. Shop organization is always kind of king. I do have a 2-car garage, so I am in a much better position than I think the majority of hobbyists. And I happen to have more machines, I think, than a lot of other shops that have been in business for as long as I have. Because counting, I have a bandsaw, I have a bench grinder, I have a belt grinder, I have another bench grinder I don't use, I have 2 surface grinders, I have a drill press, I have a milling machine, I have a lathe, and an air compressor. So I really do have basically 10 machine tools in here. Now, it is a cramped shop because there's so much stuff stuffed in here, but it's also good to remember when you're a hobbyist getting started. Like, you're gonna have a mill that probably takes up half the floor space of mine, and most likely a physically smaller lathe. And the drill press I have is an awkward monstrosity, but I'm never getting rid of it because it's a great machine. So, I think shop storage and organization is always one of those things where there's constant changes. Behind me, you can see I've upgraded my shelving situation again because I'm trying to get fixtures. I'd rather reach up than reach down, just personal preference. I'm a taller gentleman, so that just works for me. You'll notice almost everything in the shop is raised up a little bit for my use. Now, I don't really have any new tools to cover. I think we could probably do a video on micrometer care and feeding if anyone is interested in that. But I think that the metrology stuff isn't as exciting to the casual viewer. So really, I am very interested in hearing what all of my viewers do and what or are interested in seeing me do and what they want to see more of. It's difficult to gauge interest directly because there's always one or two people who always want one or two things. So we're trying to do the aggregate where I think, frankly, as I'm getting bigger, well, busier, not bigger. I mean, the channel is growing, and thank you guys so much. But as I get bigger, I think we might be dialing back to 1 or 2 videos a week because it's even recording a 15-minute video like this isn't just recording a 15-minute video. I tend to need 2 takes for me to be satisfied with the quality of work I'm doing, and it's the upload time and the editing time. So a 15-minute video might take me 45 minutes. If there's a lot of editing involved, as a rule, it's about 4 to 1 on my videos that are taken in more than one shot. So it's kind of hard to fit that in and still find time for recreation. Like, YouTube is recreation, but I don't want this to feel like a job. I do want it to be fun. And I think the enjoyment needs to shine through in the videos, or else they're not fun for you guys to watch. You know, creative burnout is tough, and I feel that here a lot of the times because I do take on a lot of really frustrating projects I don't take video of because they're so frustrating. I don't know how to present it in a positive manner. And you do it because they're work, and it's between that or not paying the bills this month. So, you know, that happens, and I might be starting a day job on top of this because, you know, frankly, inflation has killed my customer base. You know, and that's one of the things about running a business. I think we could probably do a whole video on its own about just running a small business, you know, pricing structures, marketing and customer interaction, and a lot of those things are really unique to a machine shop and a gunsmith. So the paradigm for what works in this shop may or may not be relevant to anything you do, but there is some thought process to it. And I think business and shop management, it does apply to hobbyists because when you're a hobbyist, what you're looking at is maximizing your enjoyment per hour. In my case, I'm looking at maximizing my profit per hour. So a lot of the times for hobbyists, I think it's smarter than it is for a business to spend the extra money on prepped materials or the right tools because it's really frustrating to do a lot of these jobs without them, quite frankly. So, you know, you guys let me know what you're interested in. I love sharing the stuff that happens in the shop. I mean, unfortunately, YouTube rules. A lot of what I do falls under manufacturing firearms, so I can't post that. And the goal of this channel is absolutely monetization. This channel's been working really well as sort of a relatively high dollar value ROI for advertising because there's some local people who found the channel and have come in and had work done here. But I think really long term, I kind of want to make this business stand on its own through YouTube because then I kind of just pick the jobs I want to do at that point. And, you know, obviously it's going to be work videotaping it. It's not going to be, you know, all fun and games, but I'll have the option of not taking some really awful, frustrating jobs. And I think that's a distinct possibility looking at a lot of the other YouTube channels out there. And I think I'm in a relatively unique niche in how many machines I can cover in one space. You know, and it's also, this is accessible to a hobbyist because a lot of the tools and techniques I have to use are hobbyist tools and techniques because you guys are on relatively small machines. You know, some of the big industrial specialty stuff, they run very differently than hobby machines. I mean, I'd love to bring in a horizontal boring mill, a radial arm drill, and a horizontal mill, and, you know, probably a 20 by 80 lathe, but that's not going to happen in this location. I don't have space, and I don't think this location would support that kind of business where that's a lot of iron. You know, when you're looking at it, you know, you might buy the radial arm drill for $1,200, but it's going to be twice that to bring it home. And it's also going to be probably 3 times that to really equip it. Where the machines are the cheap part when you buy them used. The tooling really adds up. I think just over my left shoulder, I have more money in tooling than I do in purchasing my mill. Where if you're patient, you can get machines pretty inexpensively. And that is one of the things. I mean, we can also talk about purchasing used machines and things to look for and things to ask people. Like, one of my tips, and I tell everyone who asks me about buying a used mill, is don't buy them out of a fab shop and ask if they've been greased. A lot of people see the oil fittings on a mill and assume they're for grease because that's what they've gotten used to. And they're really for oil. They're not grease fittings, they're oil fittings. So there's stuff like that to look out for. A lot of the spindle wear is a little bit trickier to evaluate for, but I mean, there are some very quick ways to just look at a machine and say, probably a good buy or probably not. So, if that's something you guys are interested, I'd love to post about that. So, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the shop update and a little bit of ramble. And please tell me in the comments what you think we should be doing more of and what you'd like to see more of, or other ways we can improve. So, thanks again, guys.